Iteration is not a crime, and when done correctly can actually be more powerful than innovation. Samsung's Galaxy Note 9 is a shining example of this. Let's find out why. Welcome to The Real Review. The Note 9 is not as immediately impressive as a lot of 2018 flagship phones. The near bezel-less screen of the Vivo Nex, the triple camera of the Huawei P20 Pro, the transparent back of the Xiaomi Mi 8. But even without this, after having used every aspect of the Galaxy Note 9, this is a phone that I would pick over them. The Note 9 doesn't really have a headline-grabbing feature to the same extent, but does represent consolidation like we haven't seen in a long time from Samsung. The company talked a fair bit about the camera, and it has been bolstered from the already solid Galaxy S9 Plus. A larger secondary sensor combined with new AI scene detection create an improvement that most people won't be able to notice. The hardware upgrade and the AI is extremely subtle, but compared to Huawei P20 Pro's over-embellishment of photos, the AI here actually helps more than it hinders. This photo here shows how the phone can detect certain kinds of light and better adjust the settings to compensate. In most cases though, photos look pretty much the same as with the S9 Plus. The colours are a tiny bit more saturated when a scene is detected, but this doesn't come close to the image enhancement going on with Google's Pixel 2. Compared to that phone, I'd say landscapes and objects come out better on Google's device. I mean, just look at the sky here. But portraits and people are handled better by Samsung. Portrait shots are softer on the Note 9 and S9 Plus, but in a way that makes them flattering and almost cinematic, not inaccurate. You might notice if you look at the bricks here that the two lenses on this phone versus Google's single allow for more natural looking depth effect. You can now also record super slow motion video for twice as long as with the S9, most likely thanks to the new cooling system built into this phone. And the AI also allows detection when someone suddenly moves or blinks. And this is not just a cool feature, this is a smart, sensible, and subtle way to integrate AI that doesn't make you want to throw your phone at a wall. AR emoji is back with more options than ever before, but honestly to me, it feels not just half-hearted, but also just stuck in this weird halfway house between cartoon and realism, and it's just a little creepy. One thing though, while the phone is luxurious and of course solid from every angle, and also comes packing IP68 certification, in terms of the overall exterior, I'm not blown away. It's a thick, bulky bit of kit, and while the chamfered edges make it look better, they interrupt the seamlessness and jut into your hands a little. This lower down, separate fingerprint scanner is functional, but it just looks odd, and I wish they'd stuck to the vertical setup that was seen on the S9 Plus. Don't get me wrong, this is still easier than the Galaxy Note 8's to reach, but it's still not easy to reach. Weirdly, on the unit that I've got, the camera is not actually centered within the cutout, which just shouldn't happen. And for the ocean blue color variant that I have over here, I'm just not a fan of the color of the S Pen. It's a polarizing one, with some people loving the two-tone idea, but a lot of the people I've showed it to saying it just looks tacky in person. And my personal opinion is that it kinda looks like a refurbished spare part. Having the same colored ink as the color of your pen is a nice touch, but then trying to read yellow writing off a white background isn't as fun as it sounds. Having said that, it is very easy to forgive this new S Pen. It writes beautifully, and even though I've never historically used an S Pen for more than a couple of weeks, this time round I can genuinely say that switching songs remotely and being able to play and pause YouTube videos from across the room are features I can see myself using in the long run. Having this first-party remote that works seamlessly and charges by itself is a luxury that I didn't realize I wanted. The only kind of annoying thing for me is that the button doesn't have much travel, so it can become tiring to just keep double pressing. 128 gigabytes of storage with microSD card is what you get on the base model of this phone. That is a real blessing, and I would say alone justifies the slightly higher price tag of this phone versus last year's. There is also that headline-grabbing 512GB version, but with the increasing use of cloud services and improving data plans and bandwidth, an average user won't even know what to do with that much space. So for most people, it's tough to recommend that version over this one. Okay, over this last week, I've been getting a lot of questions about the display on the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, and to answer them all in one go, it is both delightful but also disappointing. It is the largest yet on a Note phone and as bright and vibrant as you've come to expect from Samsung flagship. Not to mention, it goes up to a QHD Plus resolution. Personally, I keep it on the default 1080p option, just to save that little bit more battery, but you can never complain about having the option to scale it up. So it's not the panel itself that's a letdown, but more what's around it. The side borders are actually larger than the Note 8's, and the screen-to-body ratio lower than even that of the Galaxy S8 last year. And so coming from a device like the Vivo Nex, which is what I've been using on a day-to-day basis, it's tough not to feel like something's missing. But that isn't to say that the Note 9 isn't a better package overall. It is a bit of a shame that the charging speed is still no faster than the aging Galaxy S7, with a full charge taking just under 2 hours. It's not a deal breaker for me, and is easily outweighed by the massive endurance that the battery has when it is charged. We're talking 4000 mAh of capacity, and if you've watched the battery test, you can probably tell it kills the majority of the competition. Now, Samsung only claimed an all-day battery, but really, they're being conservative. On a bit of a side note, if you do want to see more Note 9 coverage, it would really mean a lot to me if you could smash that subscribe button down below. Fast wireless charging is something I don't find myself reaching for, but is a nice feature to have up your arsenal. Not to mention, the speaker setup on the Note 9 is both rich and detailed, and Dolby Atmos gives whatever music or TV you're listening to a wider soundstage, providing separation to different layers in the track. Oh yeah, the Galaxy Note 9 is fast. With the latest in mobile computing power and 6 or 8 GB of RAM, it flies through Samsung's increasingly heavy software skin. But while that is to be expected, it is great to see that Samsung is improving the speed in other areas too. Iris unlocking has never felt snappier, and the potential LTE speeds on this phone are beyond impressive. Also, while the phone obviously powers through gaming too, a combination of its power, display, audio and battery life make it one of the most suitable phones for this. And then you've got what Samsung calls the water carbon cooling system. What's that about? It is a combination of measures that Samsung has added to the phone to apparently dissipate heat 3 times better than with past generations. And while day to day, when you're doing a bit of application use here, a bit of gaming there, you're not really going to be able to tell the difference, the fact that we can now use Samsung DeX with just a single adapter, as opposed to the dedicated pad with built-in cooling, is example of it in action. Unfortunately, the software is a little behind. The Note 9 is packing Android Oreo, which, given that the final version of Android Pie has finally come out, has left some people with a bad taste in the mouth. Having said that, getting this software onto their latest flagship is going to be one of Samsung's top priorities right now, so it's only a matter of months. Not to mention, Samsung Experience has never been so full of genuinely useful options. From fingerprint scanner gestures to unlocking your phone via S Pen remote. You've got an updated version of Bixby, which I have actually been using successfully to translate this bunch of Japanese snacks I got on holiday. Having said that, the translation itself is actually still being handled by Google, and let's just say the speech recognition on Bixby leaves a lot to be desired. In fact, the first time I asked to make a restaurant reservation, it opened the Samsung Health app and recommended I use a cross-trainer. Okay, so the verdict. Should you buy Samsung's Galaxy Note 9? Let's quickly loop back to what I said right at the beginning. Iteration is not a crime, and when done correctly, can be as powerful as innovation. Samsung hasn't done anything crazy here, but after having seen and used every aspect of this phone, I can safely say it's paid off. They could have gone further, sure, they could have done more, but I would take the improvements seen here over a borderless screen, and for now at least, it is goodbye to the Vivo Nex as my daily phone, and hello to the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. As predicted, it is a beastly phone that will easily hold up as one of 2018's finest. But it is worth bearing in mind that, at its core, it is not just expensive, but also an iterative upgrade, with a much larger one expected from Samsung as early as January next year. At the same time, you can't always keep waiting for the next thing, so if a Note phone is what you're looking for within the next 3 to 4 months, then Samsung has hit a home run with the Note 9. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, if you're new to the channel, if you could smash that subscribe button down below, that would really mean a lot to me. My name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you guys next time.